In the heart of downtown Ashford, where skyscrapers shadowed cozy cafes, Elena found herself caught in a whirlwind of conversation within the buzzing walls of a sunlit conference room. Her phone vibrated on the mahogany table, drawing her attention with an urgency that cut through the chatter like a siren in the night. The screen displayed a name she'd once associated with warmth and trust: Ryan. Stepping into the hushed corridor, Elena braced for the usual banter about how the business trip was progressing, maybe even when she might be back to their apartment. Instead, Ryan's voice sliced through the air with icy precision. "I'm divorcing you," he declared, his words dripping with destructive satisfaction. "I've already sold the apartment, so you'll need to figure out where you're going to live." For an instant, Elena felt as if the breath had been snatched from her lungs, the audacity, the sheer gall of it all. Her grip tightened around the phone as she steadied herself, the command in her voice betraying none of the turmoil within. "You sold the apartment," she echoed, fortifying her tone despite the churn of emotions beneath her calm exterior. "Yeah," Ryan replied, his dismissive laughter echoing through the line. "Isabella and I need the money to start fresh. She deserves better than that cramped place." Hearing the name Isabella was a piercing sting, though Elena had suspected another's presence for months. Ryan's recent late nights, the sudden flurry of business trips, and a growing emotional chasm suggested infidelity. Now, those suspicions had been callously confirmed. But the way he spoke, as if Elena were the outsider imposing on their newfound narrative, ignited a quiet fire within her. "Sounds good," Elena responded with deliberate composure, refusing to grant Ryan the victory of seeing her devastation or despair. 6 years, that's how long Elena had spent with him, believing in a shared journey founded on trust. They'd scrimped and saved, and the moment they acquired that charming 2-bedroom sanctuary in the heart of the city, it felt like the embodiment of their future. Or so she had thought. Reflecting on it all, she recognized the subtle fissures in their relationship, his evasion about their financial discussions, the way he'd dismiss her concerns with a smooch and a confident grin. What once passed as charm, she now saw as manipulation. Yet, Ryan's confidence had crossed into recklessness. Amazingly, the apartment deed had rested in Elena's name alone, a detail Ryan had overlooked. She'd shifted it during a refinancing months back, and Ryan, eager to reap the benefits of a reduced interest rate, had signed off without scrutinizing the documents. His negligence was about to become his downfall. By evening, back in the hotel enveloped in stillness, Elena's initial shock morphed into steely determination. Tears and pleading held no power here, only action. Her first call was to Sophia, her savvy lawyer and unwavering friend. As Elena relayed the morning's bombshell, her voice cooled despite the pulse thrumming beneath her skin. Sophia's astonishment was palpable through the receiver. "He sold the apartment? Without your consent?" Sophia questioned, incredulity coloring her tone. "He doesn't seem to realize that," Elena responded, a hint of satisfied amusement slipping through her words. "He believes he's building a new reality with Isabella." Sophia chuckled dryly. "Well, he's in for a rude awakening. That sale's as solid as a sandcastle at high tide, and if he's pocketed any cash from a buyer, he's staring down fraud charges." The term fraud instilled a rush of vindication. "What's our next move?" Elena inquired, her resolve solidifying. "We'll inform the buyer the sale is void," Sophia stated with confidence. "Then we'll serve Ryan a formal notice outlining the illegality of his actions. If he dares to push further, we'll be ready to meet him in court." As Elena prepared to disconnect, a wave of tranquility washed over her. Ryan imagined he'd blindsided her, but he grossly underestimated her strength and foresight. Her focus now revolved around channeling this energy into her work, compartmentalizing the betrayal. The road ahead promised challenges, but Elena had no intention of retreating. Instead, she recognized this turn of events as the spark of her ultimate victory. Elena Vargas felt a flame of newfound determination kindling within her as the airplane soared through the cerulean skies, bound for Ashford, eager to see Ryan's smugness dissolve into regret. With every mile, a sense of empowerment bloomed, a feeling she hadn't embraced in what felt like an eternity. The flight stretched ahead of her, a quiet sanctuary for introspection. Instead of dwelling on Ryan's audacity, Elena strategized her next steps, ready to dismantle his world of lies and reconstruct a future where she held the reins. Ryan's betrayal had been as blatant as an unexpected storm, yet he seemed oblivious to the repercussions awaiting him. He had treated her not as a partner, but as a mere hindrance, a pebble to cast aside on his march toward freedom. But Ryan had underestimated her resolve and the silent strength that had been brewing beneath the surface. As the wheels touched down on Ashford's tarmac, Elena wasted no time. She contacted Sophia, her loyal legal aid. Landed and ready for action, she announced, steering her luggage through the bustling terminal. Sophia's response was precise and encouraging. We've informed the buyer. Their reaction was, as expected, not pleasant towards Ryan. They're prepared to collaborate with us. And Ryan? Elena inquired, determination threading her voice. I dispatched an email this morning, Sophia reported, her tone unwavering. It details the illegality of the sale, confirms your sole ownership, and warns of the fraud implications. No response yet, but he'll be seething. Good, Elena thought, visualizing Ryan's simmering anger as a precursor to his unraveling. Arriving at the apartment, Elena found it steeped in unnerving quiet. The everyday chaos of Ryan's belongings, a jacket over a chair, shoes haphazardly scattered, lingered like phantoms in a space that felt haunted by change. She placed her suitcase down with a sigh, the calm before the inevitable storm of confrontation. Indeed, Ryan burst through the door that evening, his expression stormy and indignant. He brandished the letter, his fury unbridled. What is this nonsense? You can't just claim the apartment. It's half mine. No, it's not, Ryan, she retorted, arms folded in defiance. The deed has been solely mine for months. You signed the papers, didn't bother with the fine print, did you? Caught off guard, Ryan's confidence wavered, though he regrouped quickly, snidely dismissing her actions. You think you're clever? This doesn't change anything. The deal will stand, and you'll end up looking foolish. Incorrect again, Ryan, she corrected, unwavering. The sale is nullified. The buyer is aware and prepared to prosecute if you don't refund them. As for the advance, misuse that and you're in deeper waters. His bravado slipped, revealing cracks of uncertainty. You have no idea what you're talking about, he muttered, avoiding Elena's steady gaze. Oh, I do, Ryan. Believe me, she continued, her voice gaining strength. All these years, you misjudged me as too naive to comprehend your schemes. But rest assured, I'm fully aware, and now it's your turn to face the fallout. Desperation clawed at Ryan as he paced, his composure shattering. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. You can't just toss me aside. Elena's eyebrow arched with newfound confidence. Actually, I can. This place is mine legally. I won't force you out immediately. Consider this a grace period to sort your life. But rest assured, I'm not leaving. In the ensuing days, Ryan's indignation dissolved into pleas for mercy, peppered with threats. Meanwhile, Sophia meticulously tied up every legal loose end. The scorned buyer pulled out, incensed at the waste of time and money. Sophia prepared the divorce petition, ensuring no stone was left unturned. You're positioned powerfully, Elena, Sophia reassured her in a brief but heartening meeting. The landscape of Elena's life was changing, but this time, it offered her the high ground. Underneath Ashford's twilight sky, Elena Vargas stood at the edge of reclaiming her autonomy. She felt the winds of change whispering around her, invigorating her like the dawn after a long, dark night. Ryan had no cards left to play. Between the invalidated apartment sale and the looming threat of fraud charges, he was left teetering on the brink of a catastrophe he'd crafted himself. The weight of her newfound freedom lifted her spirits, though it also unveiled the extent of Ryan's influence over her life. Elena recalled years of swallowing his indifference, convincing herself it wasn't worth the escalating conflicts. But now clarity reigned, and she refused to compromise any further. It was her time to seize back everything she'd lost, both tangibly and emotionally. That resolve took physical form when Victoria, Elena's steadfast friend, arrived one afternoon, ready to help transform the remnants of the past. They packed Ryan's belongings methodically, encasing each chapter of their lives in the confines of brown cardboard boxes. "How's he taking all this?" Victoria asked, twirling one of Ryan's hideous ties mockingly before tossing it into the box. "Not well," Elena responded with a chuckle, her laughter mingling with a sense of liberation. "He thinks he can talk his way back in, but I've shut that door for good." "Rightfully so," Victoria encouraged, her voice a balm of solidarity. "He doesn't deserve to occupy space or time in your life." Elena's heart swelled with gratitude, a stark contrast to the isolation she'd felt throughout her marriage, bearing the burdens while Ryan basked in undeserved accolades. But now, with unwavering support behind her, Elena was reminded of her own strength and purpose. The final stroke of Destiny's painting arrived the day Ryan dared to bring Isabella to the apartment. Elena sat calmly at the dining room table, engrossed in legal documents, when their entrance did nothing to disturb her focus. Isabella surveyed the room, her presence exuding unwarranted superiority. "So, this is where we're staying," she announced, entitlement woven snugly into her tone. Elena rose, ensuring her heart remained steady as her voice cut through the air with resolute clarity. "No," she stated, firmness anchoring her words. "This is where Ryan was staying. As for you, Isabella, you're not welcome here." The smugness slipped from Isabella's face, replaced by confusion as she turned to Ryan, who seemed just as blindsided. "What is this?" Ryan blurted, attempting to regain his footing. "This," Elena explained, gesturing around the space, "is my home. Not yours, not hers, and certainly not a hostel for betrayal." Isabella's composure hardened, though remaining silent. Ryan seemed on the verge of an outburst. "You can't do this," he yelled, desperation fraying his temper. "This is unjust." Elena's stare was unwavering. "What's unjust is your arrogance, believing you could sell what isn't yours and walk away with the cash. Consider yourself fortunate, I haven't pressed charges yet." A tense silence settled as Ryan loomed at the threshold, frustration blooming across his features. Isabella appeared increasingly ill at ease, arms crossed defensively. "This is insane, Elena," Ryan insisted, a weak attempt at discrediting her claim. Elena stepped forward, her tone calm yet resolute. "Ryan, this apartment has been solely in my name. You remember signing off on that," barely scanning the words as always. "This is no longer your abode." Isabella turned sharply to Ryan, clutching her designer purse. "What is she talking about? You said this was your place." Ryan recoiled, attempting to placate her with dismissive gestures. "I'll handle it." "Oh, it's simple," Elena interjected, seizing control of the narrative. "Ryan attempted to sell an apartment that legally isn't his. That sale is nullified, and he stands accused of fraud." Isabella's facade crumbled into disbelief. "Wait, you mean the money you promised me? Did you lie about that too?" Ryan stammered, raising his hands in futile placation. "Let me explain, Isabella." "No," Elena interjected sharply. "Here's the truth. Ryan tried to execute a backdoor deal, thinking he could cash out and leave me destitute. He's committed fraud for attempting it." Isabella's eyes widened, her retreat evident as she whispered incredulously, "Fraud." "Yes," Elena confirmed, folding her arms with finality. "And unless he vacates by day's end, I'm prepared to pursue legal action." Reality finally punctured Ryan's delusion, unraveling his bravado. Elena's unwavering voice signaled a new dawn, one where she commanded her destiny, unencumbered by deceit. The day's tension cracked like thunder as Elena Vargas found herself standing face to face with Ryan, the man she once believed held integrity, now reduced to a desperate plea. "Time does funny things," she mused. 6 years had felt like a blink until this moment of truth stretched into an eternity. Ryan's eyes, once familiar and warm, now brimmed with pleas. "Elena," he began, but she cut him off with the kind of resolve only betrayal could forge. "You forfeited your place the minute you dialed my number and laughed off the impact of your betrayal," she retorted, her voice firm like steel. You didn't just let me down. You aimed to destroy the life we knew. So spare me your victim act." Isabella stood, wrapped tightly in her own shock, her gaze flitting between them like a trapped bird searching for escape. "This is madness," she murmured, hugging her handbag as if it might anchor her to sanity. "Ryan, none of this, not one word." Angst etched across Ryan's face, desperation coloring his every word. "Isabella, just a chance," her hand, raised like an imperious queen, silenced him. "I won't sink into your chaos." With that, she pivoted and strode out, leaving him isolated under the reality he'd constructed. The echo of the closing door punctuated Elena's point. "Alone in your mess now, Ryan," she remarked, turning her attention back to him. It was time to set the next chapter in motion. Deflated, Ryan crumpled onto the couch as if the fight had finally bled from him. "Elena, please. I made mistakes, I know that. But we don't have to end this way." "You're right," Elena conceded, fetching a hefty folder from the counter and setting it before him. "I'm choosing to end it decisively, though." He blinked down at the divorce papers, paper skin paling. "You despise me." Her laughter, hollow yet liberating, filled the room. "No, Ryan, what I feel is pity. You had the world, a woman's love, a home, and traded it for your reflection in a mirror." Taking a deep breath, Elena felt the churn of emotions, but let her strength hold the floor. "Collect your belongings and vacate by sundown. This is your last grace period." Ryan started to protest, but the words died before they reached the air. The fight was over. "All right," he muttered, resignation darkening his tone. "Good," Elena nodded, moving to the doorway. "And don't craft any more schemes. Sophia's got everything handled, and any infringement means we go to court." As she opened the door, Ryan stood, snatched his coat, and left without a backward glance. The weight of his defeat clung to his footsteps. A fleeting sadness flickered in Elena, not for Ryan, but for what she'd imagined they might have been. With the turn of the new key, that thought faded into the blessed quiet. Standing among the reclaimed silence, Elena inhaled deeply, free of Ryan's shadow, his artifice, his conceit. What remained was her domain, cleared of his oversized presence and overbearing trinkets. The framed jerseys, the gaudy coffee table, all absent, leaving the space pure and illuminated. That evening, Victoria swung by with her infectious energy, bearing takeout and celebratory wine. "Did he really leave?" she asked, flopping onto the sofa. "Gone for good," Elena confirmed, uncorking the wine, her voice buoyant with the victory. "He packed up without a fight." Victoria raised her glass high. "To new beginnings and well-earned triumphs." Their glasses clinked, the sound joining a sense of unburdening. To strength and self-worth, Elena toasted, promising herself never to lose them again. Over the following days, Elena gradually reclaimed her space, shifting furniture, placing beloved artworks in sight lines that lifted her spirit, and breathing joy back into the rooms. Ashford had never felt more like home. As Elena sat amid the vibrant hues of her newly arranged apartment, she realized she wasn't just redecorating a space, she was reimagining her life. What had once been a canvas painted in Ryan's image was now an intimate reflection of her own identity, vibrant and true. Sophia was Elena's constant lifeline during this time, her voice steady and reassuring each time it rang out updates on the divorce proceedings. The fraud charges are no longer a concern. The buyer opted to drop them, Sophia informed her, a touch of satisfaction woven into her words. "But we're progressing smoothly with the divorce. Ryan's impending signature will officially set you free." The notion of freedom sent shivers through Elena's heart. It wasn't just about the legal severance. It was about liberating herself from the years of resentment, insecurity, and the sensation of being trapped in an undervalued existence. Ryan, in a bid to mend the fractures he'd caused, reached out sporadically. His messages swung wildly, from tepid regrets to more desperate pleas. "Elena, I made a mistake," read one text. Another went further, tinged with desperation. "If you don't reconsider, you're going to ruin me. Is that your wish?" Elena firmly ignored these attempts. For once, she conserved her emotional energy, realizing the fractures in their past were irreparable. Ryan's choices had led him here, and she owed him nothing more than the silence she gave. By the week's close, the transformation of her apartment felt complete. Nestled on her couch, a warm cup of herbal tea in her hands, Elena gazed out at the sparkling cityscape beyond. Ryan's betrayal had shaken her world, yet it had also roused her consciousness. Too long she had sustained herself on mere crumbs of affection and regard. Now she fully embraced the truth she was worth more. A month unfolded, and with it, life took on a new rhythm. Elena's home was unrecognizable, not due to extravagant renovations, but because it was infused with her essence, her spirit, and a newfound independence. Ryan's absence, both physically and emotionally, caused her world to feel buoyant and unconfined. Every step of the divorce process was handled with an elegance and thoroughness that Sophia orchestrated, leaving Ryan with no room to delay or dispute. He realized his precarious position and complied without protest, leaving their past behind like a season's quiet change. One afternoon, as Elena sifted through a pile of old papers, a photo surfaced, a sentimental snapshot of her and Ryan from happier times. They were exuberant, carefree, caught in a moment where hope and possibility flourished. She lingered on the image, memories rippling through her consciousness. There had been moments of genuine joy, of shared dreams, but those were eclipsed by shadows of manipulation and neglect. With tender resolve, Elena sealed the photograph into an envelope, tucking it away in a drawer. She wasn't discarding it just yet. It was a piece of her history, but it no longer shaped her present. To mark the official end of an era, Elena and Victoria found themselves reveling in laughter and camaraderie atop a chic downtown rooftop bar. As the city lights twinkled beneath them, Victoria hoisted her glass. "Elena, you're radiant," she teased, a knowing smile playing at her lips. "Liberty looks phenomenal on you." Elena chuckled, warmth spreading through her like sunlight after a storm. "It's not just the single life, it's the freedom. I'm no longer living under someone else's shadow." They toasted to newfound beginnings. A profound sense of pride blossomed in Elena's chest. She hadn't just survived, she was thriving, each step steering her toward her own brighter horizon. Returning home that evening, Elena's thoughts wandered to future possibilities. Her apartment was more than just a sanctuary, it was a testament to her resilience and reclaimed dreams. She knew one day she'd find another home, an abode untarnished by past shadows. But until then, she endeavored to cherish every breath of freedom offered by this new life she had so fiercely reclaimed. As Elena curled up on her couch that night, tranquility enveloped her, a peace she hadn't known in years. Elena gazed out at the quiet expanse of Ashford from her apartment window, serenity settling over her like a soft dawn. The memory of Ryan's audacious laughter during that infamous phone call played in her mind, a reminder of how he had once believed victory was his. That misplaced confidence had been his undoing, and the irony made her finally smile. Through the turbulence and heartache, she rediscovered an inner strength she hadn't realized was simmering beneath the surface. Ryan's downfall wasn't just his ego, it was his underestimation of her resilience. For Elena, this was far more than the conclusion of a chapter in their shared history. It was the inaugural page of her own narrative, one where she authored every plot twist and happy ending. This newfound freedom felt like the first true breath she'd taken in years. She relished the autonomy, the realization that happiness was something she had the power to shape on her own terms, free from the shadows of unmet expectations and broken promises. Standing stronger, Elena welcomed this fresh beginning with open arms, confident that her journey was only just beginning.